I mean,
investors?
first of all, you need to realize for your own startup or company if you even need an investor or not. Why do you need an investor? Just because what? You need to have like an executed plan that you can show, okay, if I'm taking this bunch of money, it's going to exponentially help my growth, or I'm going to use this money to create 1, 2, 3, 4 value points. So you'll need to have a plan. You need to have a way to know what you are planning to do with this money. And maybe it's just for marketing, maybe it's to expanding your R&D and team, maybe it's for a combination of both. In most cases it is. But first ask yourself if you need an investor or not, depending on your company. If you have an e-commerce business, you might not need an investor, I don't know. If you are operating in a tech scene, in a startup, you might need an investor, but it might be too unrealistic to raise this bunch of money up front, and you wouldn't be able to achieve it. So it really comes down to first realizing exactly if you get that money from investors, what it's going to be used for.
So let's address the elephant in the room. I feel like in Silicon Valley, they put the investor relationship and the startup ecosystem on a pedestal, that every startup needs to raise money and they get the headlines that you raised X amount of dollars, and that's what every founder is chasing after. Not every founder, but majority of them, and that became the standard. I come from a very traditional family business background, and I'm in between. Like, I understand the startup world, and you need to act fast, get money, grow. You can't be, slow like a family business. But at the same time, there are some fundamentals. You don't want to give away your company right off the bat. And I see a lot of people do that. There are different levels of investors. So there's the early stage investors. Some people want to fund your ideas, which they're called angel investors. And there are some growth investors. They're really typically investing in later stages.
I think in this episode, we'll focus on the earlier type of investor. I think it's more relevant to our audience and ourselves. If you're in a later growth stage, you probably don't need to listen to this episode. You can go ahead and shut it down.
Yeah, and maybe reach out to us and share your experience with us, and what you've been seeing. But I want to know, I want to talk about even at the early stages.
Yeah.
Ideally, you want to bootstrap till you have some traction, so you have something to show, so you don't have to sell your company too cheap.
So today, I think, and of course, anything is possible all the time, but I don't think any company will be able to raise money just with an idea. I don't think it's possible anymore. Maybe it was possible a few years ago. Maybe it is possible also if you already done some successful startup management and made some exits in your past, and then you can, raise the funding just based on an idea and a plan. Of course, when we say idea, it also comes with a plan, not just an idea. But we already touched on a few episodes that ideas are worth zero pretty much. And
I think at that stage, it's called co-founder. You can't get an investor involved. You have to find somebody who brings the skill set, and maybe you have some savings aside and they have some savings, and you can pour it together and have a three-way co-founders or two co-founders.
Co-founder is a good way to start, but then again, you'll need something more. You'll need some sort of an MVP, some sort of a demonstration of why what you're doing is going to work and why is it going to scale before you can even approach investors. And luckily today there are ways to get it done for relatively cheap. There is Upwork, where you can hire designers and developers and create some sort of an MVP. And I would recommend for the listeners to listen to the episode when we did about MVP and working with developers, because you can easily overspend just like that, get fancy with your ideas. MVP is minimum viable product. You need the actual bare minimum to demonstrate your idea, to demonstrate your plan, to show something. And then test it and have some data that support your basic idea, and then you'll be in a position you can approach early stage investor. I think that before that, there is no point in reaching out to investors because you really don't have something to come to the table with in most cases.
And I think investors would look into your capabilities of stretching a dollar in your company and how efficient you can bootstrap yourself. Because if you cannot do that, what's the guarantee that you're going to take care of their
Also,
money?
what is your commitment? If you didn't do anything, you didn't commit, if you are even keeping your day job, what is the commitment you are showing them? You're showing them you are
Yeah.
not serious about it, and it will be really hard for you to raise any money.
And it's easy to ask, oh, we'll work on your money, and if it fails, it's your money. Investors don't want to do that anymore. They did it 10 years ago. It's not
but
there.
again, the initial money, if you believe so much in the idea, you can really make it for cheap. You can partner with co-founders that can help you make it for free. Maybe you can partner with a developer that can make the MVP without you paying them, just sharing the company, be a co-founder, split it with their equity. Right now it's worth nothing, right? So what's the opportunity cost? I get a co-founder, he can help me lead this, and we can try and build potentially something, or not give anything, don't have anything, and don't raise money, and the idea is dying immediately. So it really is a game of balance.
So I'm going to share my